Hi, welcome to day 18 of the Shadow series. Can't believe we're already at day 18. And yes, I'm wearing the same outfit if you watched yesterday's video because I made these two back to back since I was inspired to talk about fear and how fear creates and feeds shadow. And yesterday, the example that I used was about money. Fear of lack is another way of putting it, fear of not having enough of something. And I think that's something that just about everybody has experienced at some point or another. So that's something that we can all relate to. Obviously, you can have lots of other fears. In that same way, fear that something bad is going to happen to your family members or your animals, or fear that, I don't know, that any number of things, right? I specifically want to focus more today on fear of change and fear of success. Okay. I think it is a quote from Marianne Williamson that we fear our light more than our shadow often. And, I do think there's a lot to be said for that we stop ourselves from doing things because we're afraid of how it might work out. And honestly, sometimes not because we're afraid it won't work out, although fear of failure can also be, a way that one of the reasons we self-sabotage, but this fear of like, oh my God, what if it really did happen? What does that look like? What does that mean? When we're fantasizing about it, I think we can think about it. It's like, oh yeah, I'd love to have, win the lottery and la, 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 la. But if it actually happened, like what happens then, And certainly a lot of the stories you hear about people who win the lottery isn't really great, is it? But fear of change, right? Even if it's good change, can stop us from trying, right? Because often we've become so comfortable with the way things are now, even if they're not the way that we really want them to be. We become comfortable in our shadow, right? With a certain amount of shadow and without things being the way we want them, that we just sort of stay there because we're comfortable there. It's the devil, because if you move out of that into something else, what else changes? What does that look like? What if I'm not happy then? And that is like a whole nother tunnel to go down. Because of course we are only in control of our own happiness. It's not about anything external. It's only about what's inside us. But I think we do fear change because we don't know what it's going to look like. And we don't know how it's going to affect other things in our lives. We fear success sometimes because we're not sure what it would look like or how we would handle it, right? And I think, or we fear wanting it. We fear wanting it because what if we want it? What if we go for it and we don't get it, right? And the example that I'm going to give, again, from my own life, sorry, I know y'all are going to know way too much about my life, by the way, at the time this is over, is my book. When people have asked me about the book coming out and about people reading it and stuff, and, how many copies it's sold and all that sort of thing, right? People have said, I have always said, hey, if it touches one person, then that's done because my journey with the book taught me so much that I feel like I've already gotten so many gifts from the book, and that's true. And that I do also feel very strongly that even if it touched one person, that would be like an amazing gift, and not because of me. I think that would be because of what came through me, not, it's not me, right? And that has happened. I've had that happen. So I made this journey with my book. I learned so much. I got so many gifts. That's true. That's happened. People who've read the book have reached out to me, not just one, but a number of people have reached out to me and said, wow, this book really inspired me. It really made me think about things. It made me realize something. I've had not just one, but a number of people do that. So awesome. And I do mean that. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I am so grateful. I'm grateful that even one person bought the book, quite frankly. But why am I afraid to want more? Why am I afraid to put it out there that I want this sucker to be a bestseller? That I want this to touch as many people as it possibly can. And it wouldn't hurt to make some money off of it, right? Why? That's fear. That's a shadow, right? So that's a shadow that I have to work with. That's something that I have to figure out. Why am I not, I can say it, but why am I not allowing myself to like fully feel it? And this is coming up for me because I'm, for the first time, going to be sort of flogging my book in public because of COVID and everything else, at an author fair, book fair in Idlewild on Saturday. So I went and made a big poster, and I'm like putting this little thing together to have like a little table so that I can sign books if anybody buys them. And so I'm really putting myself out there to sell these books for the first time. You know, it's all sort of been amorphous and online and not like really personal, right? So I want you to think about whether or not there are things in your life that you are not allowing yourself to want because of fear. Because you fear of how things might change, because you fear success, because you fear, you know, what if people really began to expect that of you, right? Wow, what happens then, you know? So I want you to think about that. Do you fear change? Do you fear success? Do you sabotage yourself in that way? And my sabotage didn't look much like sabotage, right? I mean, I wasn't trying not to sell it, but I was not allowing myself to want the whole thing, right? What are you keeping yourself from? That's my question today. So, day 18, there you have it. I wish you the best. Love you. Comments, questions. Mwah. Have a great one.